University in Birmingham UK. Here you can study youth and community work. Pauline Grace is leading the master's program of the course. She is teaching here for the last 9 years. What happened after, as a senior youth worker, you were invited as a guest lecturer to university?
I did the 2-hour lecture. I came out and they said, "Do you want a part-time job?" And I said, "Absolutely." So I was a visiting lecturer at Birmingham University for a while. And then I thought, this job is almost as amazing as youth work is, because it's about being able to influence the future of youth work and create big ripples. And a job came up at Newman University about a year later for a brand new course, and I applied and I got it, and it was the best thing I ever did.
What role did formal or non-formal education play in your own path in youth work?
Well, I started as a volunteer youth worker, and so I learnt on the job. I was a volunteer for 4 years before anybody ever said, "You know what, you can get some training in this." So I went along to some local training and I met all these other people who were using their spare time and volunteering, and we talked about what youth work was, and that was done in a much more informal educational way. And then I thought, people go to university and get a degree in this. And I was training up all these students on placement. They'd be with us in my work, and they'd stay for 3 months and they'd go away and they'd come back 2 years later as my manager. And I was like, hang on, what's going on? And so I decided to go to university myself. So it was a much more formalised process. And 3 years later, I had a degree in youth work.
One task of education is to enhance professionalism. How do you see professionalism in open youth work?
Okay, professionalism is one of those really tricky words, and we need to own it for ourselves as youth workers. Traditionally, professionalism could mean about creating distance, about making policy, creating boundaries, and that's really seen as kind of protecting the professional and the person that you're working for. I would say a youth work version of professionalism is breaking down some of those barriers, working holistically in a person-centred way with young people, with integrity and authenticity, and making sure that the young person that you're working with is at the centre of your involvement. You're working with them, not on them. You are their professional advocate. You're with them along their journey to enable and facilitate.
One task that Pauline has set for herself in her job is to keep the flame of professional open youth work alive.